weekend, everybody. Welcome to the Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live, where I, Chef Alex Cardinale, look forward to answering all of your Easter cooking or baking questions. I hope you all have an amazing, superb Easter holiday and a Easter weekend. Now, we all know that Easter is meant to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, but we also know that we have a nice Easter dinner with our family. And if you're going to be in charge of preparing Easter dinner, I'm here to help you out. So if you have any Easter cooking or baking questions, I will answer them for you. So on the Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live, I am going to answer all of your questions. I am going to give you some Easter dinner tips and Easter dessert tips, and I have some recipes for you. I'm going to give you a delicious macaroni and cheese recipe, a mushroom risotto recipe, a strawberry cheesecake recipe, and more. You're going to enjoy this show, and hopefully, we'll get some questions for me to answer heading into Easter. So, do you have Easter cooking or baking questions? Do you need help preparing Easter dinner? Well, I, Chef Alex Cardinale, am here to help. So post your questions in the comments and I will answer your questions. So all you need to do is simply post your cooking or baking questions that are related to Easter in the comments, and I will answer them for you here on this Good Friday. All right, so I look forward to answering your questions. So let's get this fun show started. Today is Good Friday, which means that Catholics and anyone that celebrates Lent was not supposed to eat meat. And I followed that tradition because for dinner today, I had cheese pizza from Marco's, and Marco's makes an excellent cheese pizza. And prior to the show, about an hour before the show went live, I made some Italian cookies for Easter. I am Italian. My family loves Italian cookies, so I make them for each and every Easter. So while I wait for some questions to come in, I'm going to start today's show with the segment that I like to call Chef Alex Ask You. And this is where you can answer my questions. So here we go. Chef Alex Ask You. Question one. What are you making for Easter this year for dinner and desserts? Question two. What are your favorite Easter desserts or treats? And question three. What is one food you must have on Easter weekend? So I'm going to start answering my questions, and you can post your answers to those questions in the chat. So what am I making for Easter this year for dinner? I'll start with dinner. So for dinner, I'm going to help my mom tremendously by cooking a big portion of the dinner. So I am going to make a prime rib. Prime rib is a succulent, juicy piece of beef. It is one of my favorite cuts of beef, and we only have it on Christmas and Easter and special occasions. And it's really easy to cook, and I enjoy cooking a delicious prime rib. So I'm going to make prime rib, and I'm going to make a couple of side dishes. I'm going to make my homemade baked macaroni and cheese, which I'm going to give you the recipe for later on in the show. And this year, I'm trying something new. I'm going to be making broccoli cheddar risotto. Now, this year, just this year, I learned how to make risotto for the very first time. And risotto is very easy to make. And I look forward to making a broccoli cheddar risotto for Easter. So those are the things that I'm making for dinner. Now for dessert, I have some awesome things that I'm going to be making. Now, my brothers and I are fans of Oreo, and I've always been a fan of Oreo since I was a young boy. But my personal favorite Oreo and my brother's personal favorite Oreo is the golden Oreo. So I'm going to make a golden Oreo cheesecake, and that's going to be really delicious. I'm also going to make a vanilla cake that is filled with raspberry pie filling, and it is topped with whipped cream. It is a really delicious dessert. I love cakes that are filled with fruit and topped with whipped cream. So that's what I'm going to be making for Easter dinner and desserts. So the next question: what are my favorite Easter desserts or treats? You know, that's a really tough question. So, a favorite Easter dessert for me would be carrot cake. Now, I'm not a huge fan of carrot cake, but I do eat carrot cake often. And one of the times that I eat carrot cake is during Easter. I'm not making it this year, but I probably will have a slice of carrot cake on Easter. So, my favorite Easter dessert, hands down, would be carrot cake followed by the Oreo cheesecake. Now, the Oreo cheesecake I have made every year for Easter, and that's where I learned about cheesecake. And it was during Easter that I learned about making cheesecakes, and the Oreo cheesecake was the first thing that I learned how to make. Now, as far as my favorite Easter treat, it's the Reese's peanut butter egg, it's the Twix egg, and the Cadbury cream egg. Those would be my favorite Easter treats. And what is one food you must have on Easter weekend? For me, it's the Italian egg bread that you get at the Italian pastry shops. Those are really good and they must be served on Easter dinner. And then, of course, it would be the prime rib and ham, desserts, and chocolate. So now it is up to you to answer those questions. Simply post your answers in the comments. And also, if you have cooking and baking questions, post them in the comments and I will answer them as well. And you don't have to be tuned in live to comment. You can comment on the archive version or the replay of this episode, and I will answer them in the comments as well. So don't think this is just a live situation. I will answer all questions, whether they're live as this video is happening or after the fact that this video has aired. I will answer all your questions nonetheless. So I do have a couple of questions that were submitted to me prior to this show, and they come from my dear friend, Mrs. TNTBS. Mrs. This Needs to Be Said. My dear friend, Catherine Jones, submitted a couple of questions for me to answer, and I'm going to do that right now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put her questions up on the screen right now. So, Catherine asked me the following: what are best treats to make with children for Easter? And her second question is suggestions for doing something new for Easter dinner. No ham this year. So I'll start with your first question. Now, some of the best treats to make with children for Easter are kind of simple, in my personal opinion. One of the things that I like to make and I enjoyed doing as a kid was boiling some hard boiled eggs and painting them. It was always fun to paint hard boiled eggs and decorate them. And then after you paint them and let the paint dry, then you have a nice snack of a hard boiled egg. Another awesome treat that you can make on Easter is a Easter themed Rice Krispie treat. So you would get some Easter sprinkles that you'll find at the dollar store. You'll find them in the Easter section of Walmart, or any, like Michael's would have them. So you get some Easter sprinkles. You've got your marshmallow. You've got the Rice Krispies and some butter. So all you do in a large saucepan is melt the butter. You add the marshmallows and the Rice Krispie treats and the sprinkles, and you combine them all together, and you've got a nice Rice Krispie treat that is perfect for Easter. And then there's another dish that I made as a kid for Easter that I liked. It's called the Easter dirt cake. So for the dirt, you would use Oreo crumbs. You would get like a trifle container or a plastic cup, and you would put the Oreo crumbs at the bottom. Then you would put a Peeps marshmallow on the top, along with some of those Reese's eggs, the miniature ones. And you would also put some green shredded coconut, and that is the Easter dirt cake. So another great idea for what to do with children. So suggestions for doing something new for Easter dinner. No ham this year. That's a great question, my friend. One of the suggestions that I could give you for Easter would be a simple prime rib. Prime rib is not difficult to make at all. As a matter of fact, prime rib is really easy. So, really, all you need to do is buy a prime rib, crank the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that sounds a lot. And you're going to cook that 5 minutes per pound. So let's say, for example, you buy a 5 pound prime rib. You're going to cook it at 500 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. And then you turn the oven off and leave the prime rib in the oven for 2 hours. That's going to allow the prime rib to finish cooking and rest, and all the juices will redistribute. If you're not a fan of prime rib, you can have filet mignon, you can have a pork roast, you can have turkey. There's a lot of different options that you can have for Easter. So I hope that answers your questions, Catherine. And I thank you so much for submitting your wonderful questions here on the Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live. So we have Ken K. Lloyd in the house, and Ken has an amazing question, and this is a really good question. Ken says, could you make egg salad from the painted eggs? Absolutely. Yes, you can make egg salad from the painted eggs. Just make sure that you remove 100% of the shell, because we don't want to taste painted shell in your egg salad. But yes, you can make egg salad from the painted eggs. And on that same token, you can also make deviled eggs out of those painted eggs that you made. As a matter of fact, I have never ever tried painted egg, or I have never tried deviled eggs, and I'm not sure why. But I'm kind of weird when it comes to eggs for some reason. I have a hard time eating cold or room temperature eggs. For me, the eggs have to be hot and warm. So that's the only problem that I have with hard boiled eggs and egg salad, is that it's cold. But I'm going to have to try to work around that, because hard boiled eggs are good for you. So thank you, Ken, for that amazing question. So you can indeed make egg salad from the painted eggs. Happy Easter, Ken, by the way. So if anyone else has any cooking questions, simply post them in the comments, and I will answer them for you. right, so for this month's edition of Cooking Tips, I'm going to give you some Easter dinner suggestions. Now, most folks, when they think of Easter dinner, they think of ham and maybe duck or lamb, but there are other entrees that you can have for Easter. So I'm going to give you a rundown of some of my suggestions for an Easter dinner. I'm going to give you suggestions for entrees as well as side dishes. So let's get right to it. One of my suggestions is prime rib. Prime rib is really good. Now, prime rib is kind of expensive, but around this time of year, grocery stores will have a sale on them. My mom got prime rib at $6.99 a pound yesterday at my local grocery store, a 12-pounder. So that was a pretty good deal. So check your grocery store. They may have a sale on prime rib. Now, grocery stores do not sell them as prime rib. What they're sold as at the grocery store is a standing rib roast or a boneless rib roast. That is what prime rib is. And basically, it's like a ribeye steak, but a roast. It is very good, and if it's cooked right, a nice medium rare, it is nice and juicy and tender. But if prime rib is not your type of meat, you could also do a beef Wellington, which is a classic Gordon Ramsay inspired dish, and it has mushrooms, mustard, puff pastry, beef, which is filet mignon, and some other stuff in it. I have never had beef Wellington, but if I was looking for something exciting on Easter, I definitely would give beef Wellington a try. Now, if you're not a fan of beef, then you could obviously do some sort of pork. You could do a pork roast or a pork tenderloin. The pork tenderloin is one of my favorite cuts of pork. It's nice and tender and nice and moist, and that's a great idea. Now, if you don't want to do red meat, then you can turn to poultry. Now, poultry could be duck or turkey or a nice chicken roast. Those are all good ideas. Now, I know turkey would be kind of unorthodox considering we are in spring, but it is not unheard of that people have turkey on Easter. And lastly, my last meat suggestion would be lamb. Lamb is very popular on Easter, and I have yet to ever try lamb. Now, you can also do some seafood on Easter. Salmon is great. I love salmon. Salmon would be good for the spring and for Easter. Also, lobster and shrimp. Those would all be great for Easter as well. Now, for some side dishes, baked macaroni and cheese is an American classic, and I think it has a great place on the Easter dinner table. Now, if you're wanting to add an Italian dish to your Easter dinner, then some suggestions I could give you would be one of three popular Italian dishes. The first would be lasagna. Lasagna is a family favorite. I'm pretty sure most of your family is going to enjoy a delicious lasagna. Pretty basic ingredients. You got lasagna noodles, ricotta cheese, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, ground beef, and tomato sauce. That would be a basic lasagna. Now, if you don't like lasagna, you could do stuffed shells. Stuffed shells is basically the same idea of lasagna, except it's stuffed in a giant pasta shell. And if you want something really simple that isn't time consuming, like lasagna or stuffed shells, but you want pasta, baked ziti would be the best option to go because baked ziti has the flavors of lasagna and stuffed shells, but really all you got to do is cook the ziti and make the meat sauce, combine them in a large aluminum pan, top it with the cheese, and bake it. So I know there's a lot of people out there that like to have Easter dinner and include some sort of a pasta. Well, those are your options there. For potatoes, I recommend mashed potatoes, potatoes au gratin, broccoli, and cauliflower casserole is a great vegetarian side dish. I love broccoli, I love cauliflower, and I love a cheddar sauce. Broccoli and cheddar risotto is what I'm making this year. I can't wait to try that. Steamed vegetables and rice pilaf. Those are all my ideas for a Easter dinner. So hopefully you'll have some. Hopefully you can choose from one of those options to have a awesome Easter dinner. So now I'm going to go ahead and give out my first of many recipes for today's show. And my first recipe is a baked macaroni and cheese. Now, mac and cheese is an American favorite, and a lot of people love it on Easter and other holidays. So if you're looking for a great baked macaroni and cheese recipe, well, look no further. Mine is pretty good. My family loves it, and I'm sure your family is going to love it as well. So, the ingredients for my baked macaroni and cheese, and this serves about 9 to 12 people, so you can scale back if you need to. The ingredients for my baked macaroni and cheese include 3 pounds of pasta, and it could be elbow pasta, it could be rotini pasta, it could be bow ties or shells or even ziti. Use whatever pasta you like. I use 4 cans of Campbell's cheddar cheese soup. That's going to be the formation of your sauce. It's going to add that cheddar flavor. I use about 4 ounces of Velveeta. I use 4 cups of milk. That's going to make your cheese sauce. You're going to need a stick of butter and probably like 5 tablespoons of flour to make a roux. Then you can use your favorite seasoning. I use a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, some cayenne pepper, a half teaspoon of that. I use some adobo and Italian seasoning and Parmesan. So you're also going to need some shredded cheddar and shredded Monterey Jack, and those are your ingredients. So basically, I begin making the cheese sauce. I put the stick of butter in the pan, and then once that's nice and melted, I add the flour and whisk that with the whisk. And then I add in the 4 cups of milk, slowly whisking it and let that thicken. Then I add in the cheddar cheese soup and the Velveeta and all the seasonings, give that a good whisk. And then I add in the cheeses and give that a good whisk and turn off the heat, take it off the heat so it doesn't burn. Cook your pasta till al dente, about 6 or 7 minutes. Drain, put in an aluminum pan, and mix with the cheese sauce. Spread some shredded cheese on top of that. Take some breadcrumbs and a half stick of butter, melt it in the microwave, sprinkle that over the top, and bake it in a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. And you've got a delicious baked macaroni and cheese to serve on Easter Sunday. Trust me, folks, if I tell you my family and friends love my baked macaroni and cheese, it is really, really good. So be sure to give it a try. I can guarantee you it is really, really good. So the next recipe that I am going to give you is a take on a traditional spiral ham. And I use a secret ingredient. And that secret ingredient just so happens to be one of my favorite sodas of all time, and that is Mountain Dew. So my next recipe is a lemon lime glazed spiral ham, aka Mountain Dew glazed spiral ham. Really simple. So for this spiral ham, you're going to use any pound spiral ham that you have. You're going to use a can of sliced pineapples. You're going to use one of those 2-liter bottles of Mountain Dew. You could also use Sprite. And optional, you don't have to use the glaze packet that it comes with, but you can if you want. So basically, all you do is you put your ham in a baking pan. You take the canned pineapple with the juice and all and spread it over the top of the ham. And then you add your Mountain Dew all over the top and liberally in the pan. And you bake that ham as you normally would. The Mountain Dew is going to add a sweet touch to it and make it a really delicious ham. A perfect recipe for Easter Sunday. The last side dish recipe that I have for you for Easter Sunday is for risotto. Trust me, risotto is not hard to make at all. I learned how to make risotto this year. Basically, the key to making a good risotto is making sure that you have enough liquid and you do a lot of stirring. If risotto is prepared properly, you got a nice creamy rice, and you're going to impress your family and friends on Easter Sunday by showing them that you can cook like a restaurant chef with a mushroom risotto. So here is my recipe for mushroom risotto. Very quick and very simple. So for mushroom risotto, you're going to need risotto rice, which you can find at your grocery store. I forgot the name of it. It starts with an A, Arbazo, I think it is. And you're also going to need a package or two of mushrooms. You can use more mushrooms if you like. You're going to need about 2 cups of Parmesan cheese. Try to use fresh Parmesan for more flavor. And you're going to need a couple containers of chicken or beef stock. You're going to want to slice an onion, and that's your ingredient. That's your ingredients for the mushroom risotto. So to make this, you're going to take a stick of butter in a large skillet, and you're going to put the stick of butter and the rice in the skillet and saute that for about 2 or 3 minutes until the rice is nice and golden. Then you're going to add your mushrooms and onions and saute them for about 5 minutes. And you'll slowly add half of your chicken broth and let the rice absorb it. Then pour in half of your Parmesan cheese and stir it together. Then more chicken broth, more Parmesan, stir, and finally your remaining chicken broth, and let that cook for 20 minutes. And that is your simple but delicious mushroom risotto. Very, very tasty and very delicious. I got that recipe from Facebook a couple of months ago, and it really is awesome. All right, so those are all of my Easter dinner recipes for tonight's show. So before I get to my baking tips and my baking recipes, I want to remind everyone that is just tuning in now that I am answering your questions. So if you happen to have any Easter cooking or baking questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section below so that I can answer them and give you the answer that you're looking for. And if you're watching your replay of today's video, I can still answer your questions as well. Now, you can also answer my questions. I'm asking you the following questions. What are you making for Easter this year for dinner and desserts? What are your favorite Easter desserts or treats? And what is one food you must have on Easter weekend? So while I get ready to give you my Easter dessert ideas, I figured I would promote some more questions, and you can answer my questions as well. One of my favorite parts of any holiday meal is desserts. I have a sweet tooth, and I love anything that has sugar or anything that is a dessert. And I look forward to dessert on Easter dinner. So I'm going to give you some Easter dessert suggestions right here, right now on the Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live. So here are my Easter dessert suggestions. I have 5 suggestions for you. The first is a classic Easter dessert, and it is carrot cake. I cannot think of anything better to serve for dessert on Easter than carrot cake. Carrots are the perfect embodiment of Easter. Now, if you're not a fan of carrots, then you can serve cheesecake. And you can serve any kind of cheesecake that you want, whether it's a strawberry cheesecake or a raspberry cheesecake. I think Easter is the perfect time to utilize fruit. And you can make a nice strawberry topping or a raspberry topping, or you can purchase um, the Duncan Hines pie filling for the top of the cheesecake. If you're going to use the store-bought pie filling, Duncan Hines is the way to go. You can also make an Oreo cheesecake, a Twix cheesecake, etc. Those are all acceptable as well. You can make an Easter bunny cake by buying a Easter bunny cake pan. My mom has a way of doing it though. She takes like 2 round layer cake pans and bakes a vanilla cake, and she like cuts it in half to make bunny ears, and she has a weird way of decorating that. I wish I could get her on here to tell you how to do that. Then we've got the Easter dirt cake, which basically you take like a yogurt parfait cup, and you put crushed Oreos at the bottom, Peep on top, along with Reese's eggs and Cadbury eggs. I mentioned that earlier in the show. You can do a coconut cake, and you can serve fruit pies as well. So those are my Easter dessert suggestions. Now, holidays are the perfect time to support your local mom and pop bakeries. This is the perfect opportunity to spend your money locally. So if you don't have time to prepare homemade desserts, that's totally fine. I understand because we're working and then we come home to prepare dinner. So if you're going to go the route of buying desserts, then go to your local bakeries that are owned by bakers and family run. Don't go to a grocery store bakery if you can avoid it. I'm guaranteeing you that if you go to a local bakery, the products are going to be fresh, they're going to be homemade, and they're going to be delicious. And you'll be able to get a homemade carrot cake, cannoli cake, or whatever cake that you want. So that's my Easter dessert suggestions for you here on the Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live. So I've got 2 final recipes to give out, and then we'll wrap up this amazing show. I had a lot of fun tonight hosting the Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live. So my first dessert recipe is for my homemade carrot cake. And this is the carrot cake recipe that I've been using since I started making homemade carrot cake. It basically is fail proof. If I can make it, you can make it as well. It really is simple yet delicious. So here is my recipe for a homemade carrot cake. So for the carrot cake, you're going to need 4 eggs, 1 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 2 cups of white sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 3 cups of grated carrots, 1 cup of chopped pecans, and 1 cup of raisins. I like to add raisins to my carrot cake. Frosting. You're going to need a half cup of butter softened, 8 ounces of cream cheese softened, 4 cups of powdered sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Preheat your oven to 350, and you're going to grease and flour a 9 by 13-inch pan or 2 8-inch round cake pans if you want to make a layer cake. In a large bowl, beat together eggs, oil, white sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Mix in flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and cinnamon. Stir in carrots, fold in pecans and raisins, and pour into prepared pan. Bake in the preheated oven for 40 to 50 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the center of the cake comes out clean. Let cool in pan for 10 minutes, then turn out onto a wire rack and cool completely. And to make the easy frosting in a medium bowl, combine the butter, cream cheese, powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Beat until the mixture is smooth and creamy and frost the cooled cake. Nothing better than the combination of cream cheese and delicious carrot cake. All right. So the last recipe that I have for you tonight is for a delicious homemade strawberry cheesecake. And for this recipe, you can use any pie filling that you like. You can make a homemade strawberry pie filling, or you can buy Duncan Hines pie filling, or Duncan Hines raspberry filling, or apple filling. So basically, you can change the flavor of the cheesecake just by changing the pie filling that you're going to top your cheesecake with. And here's how simple this cheesecake recipe really is. So I'm calling this the Strawberry Philadelphia Cheesecake. 4 8-ounce packages of Philadelphia cream cheese softened, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 4 eggs. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to beat your cream cheese, 1 cup of sugar, and vanilla with mixer until well blended. Add eggs one at a time, mixing on low speed after each, just until blended. And you're going to pour over a prepared pie crust, or you can buy a graham cracker crust at the grocery store. And you're going to bake that for 55 minutes or until center is almost set. And you're going to take it out of the oven and let it come to room temperature. And then you're going to refrigerate 4 hours to overnight. And then the next day, you can take the cheesecake out of the refrigerator, put on the pie topping, either strawberry or raspberry, put it back in the fridge until serving time, and you've got a delicious, easy, homemade dessert. So those are my 2 Easter dessert recipes for this year's Easter 2022 Ask Chef Alex Live. All right. I think that concludes our amazing show this year. I would like to say thank you to my friend Ken Lloyd for his amazing question. And I want to say thank you to my friend Catherine Jones for her amazing questions as well. So thank you to Ken and Catherine in advance for those great questions. Also, I want to say thank you to everyone that watched this video. Hopefully my Easter dessert and dinner tips and suggestions will help you. And if you use my recipes, let me know how they come out. I'm always interested in hearing if other people try my recipes. There is one more Easter themed show taking place this Easter weekend, and it happens tomorrow. It's the biggest Easter show of them all. It's the Easter 2022 Bash, and it airs live tomorrow, Saturday, April 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow night, the Easter Bash is going to be hosted by Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale just one night before Easter. And there's going to be appearances by Chef Alex, which is me, Aqua Alex, and legendary Alex Cardinale. Chef Alex tomorrow night is going to give out his recipe for his honey roasted carrots, which is a perfect Easter side dish. I'm going to give you my recipe for my golden Oreo cheesecake and my recipe for the raspberry cake that I was talking about earlier. Plus, Aqua Alex will talk about tropical fish topics, and legendary Alex Cardinale will show you how to make painted eggs. So don't miss the Easter 2022 bash hosted by Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. So, if you're new to my YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the legendary Alex Cardinale for future cooking and baking videos and other amazing videos. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. You will like my YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Happy cooking, happy baking, and happy Easter. Happy Easter, everybody, and enjoy your Easter weekend with your family and have a good Easter dinner. Chef Alex Cardinale saying happy Easter and good night. Happy Easter from me, Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale. I, Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale, will be hosting the inaugural Easter 2022 Bash, which will be airing right here on this YouTube channel Saturday, April 16th, 2022 at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Just one day before Easter, join me, Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale, for a special Easter Bash. The very first one to be hosted by Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale. Easter Bunny is proud to announce there will be Easter appearances by Aqua Alex Cardinale and Chef Alex Cardinale. Chef Alex is going to make one of my favorite treats. Chef Alex will show you how to make honey roasted carrots, and he will make one awesome Easter dessert, and Chef Alex will give tips for hosting a delicious Easter dinner. Now, I'm a bunny, but I love tropical fish. So I've called upon Aqua Alex to be on the Easter 2022 Bash. Aqua Alex will discuss Easter-themed aquarium fish, and he will discuss the saltwater rabbit fish, aka fox faces and the spotted rabbit fish, and Aqua Alex will discuss treats that I could give your fish as Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale. Now, I, Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale, will discuss my favorite Easter memories. I will have a message for people of all ages. I'll discuss the true meaning of Easter, and I may enjoy some Easter candy with all of you. It's going to be a fun time. Legendary Alex Cardinale is going to join me to paint some Easter eggs. So what will we paint the Easter eggs? You got to tune in to find out. Happy Easter, everybody. I hope you enjoy the Easter season, and most importantly, I hope you'll tune in to the Easter 2022 Bash live Saturday, April 16th, 2022, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. Happy Easter, and go get those Easter candies.